Thanks, everybody. Galena is an ASX-listed company, and we own the Abra Base Metals project. The Abra Base Metals project is the best undeveloped base metals project in Australia if you measure it in terms of projected internal rate of return for any base metals project of a decent scale. It's a lead project. So the ASX ticker is G1A. It's listed on Frankfurt as GM6. We only have 800 shareholders, so the company is not very well known. It was listed as an IPO in September of 2017, so it's just over 2 years old. And we've never promoted anywhere outside of Australia. We don't typically do conferences. This is the first conference the company's done. But we're at a stage now where we feel like we need to broaden the interest in the company. Our Abra Base Metals project is being developed in joint venture with Toho Zinc of Japan. Toho Zinc is Japan's largest zinc and lead smelter, so they are a customer for lead concentrates, which is the product we will be producing. Our current market cap share price has come down since I did this, so it's probably about 120 million Australian dollars today, and we have $30 million of cash, 34 million as at September 30. The project is located in the Gascoyne region of Western Australia. The nearest base metals mine to us is Sandfire's De Grusser mine, so that's a roughly $1 billion operation, and that's around 100 kilometres to the west of us. We are a fairly remote location, which is a good thing for developing a mine. The nearest settlement to us of any kind, or resident of any kind, is about 65 kilometres away, and that's really helped us. For example, we've not required any EPA approvals to become fully permitted, and so the project is fully permitted. It's on a granted mining lease, and it also has a proven logistical route to the port. So we propose to use the same logistics that Sandfire does, and we will be shipping through Geraldton Port, and we have an agreement with Geraldton Port for access. Now, the deposit was discovered in 1981, and it was considered to be a very large but low-grade lead deposit. In 2016, a group of individuals acquired the deposit with a different geological model. The idea that we had was that within this 90 million tonne 4% grade deposit, there would be a higher grade core, and we set ourselves a target to find a contiguous mineralised zone of 10 million tonnes at least 10% lead. So we put the company into Galena and IPO'd it in order to raise the drilling to prove this contention, and we were immediately proven right. And we put a maiden resource out in March of 2018, immediately went to pre-feasibility study. By the way, we did do a scoping study, and the scoping study had a 9-year mine life, 1 million tonnes a year at 10.5% lead, so we were right. That was at a 7.5% cutoff using our extra drilling to have modelled the resource. We then dropped the cutoff grade going into PFS because we found better economics at 1.2 million tonnes a year and a 16-year mine life. So we dropped the cutoff grade to 6%. In January, we announced the investment by Toho. So Toho is investing 90 million Australian dollars as new equity into the project in order to receive a 40% stake in the project. At the same time, by the way, we did a $10 million placement to an Australian family office called Kingfisher Warburton Group. We completed all of our permits in July, so the project, as I said, is fully permitted. We completed a DFS in July, and we commenced construction in October. We also finalise the offtake for the portion of production that is not going to Toho. So Toho gets 40% of production. The remaining 60% is being sold to IXM. The project is geologically interesting for those of you who are geologists. It's a hydrothermal event that's intruded into a sedimentary basin. What's happened is these massive veins of sulfide mineralisation have hit a layer of rock that's so competent that they've then spread laterally and disseminated into the mudstone that's now the top of the ore body. And what's happened is they've created a contiguous blanket of mineralisation. We have a JORC resource. So we've done 3 JORC resources, by the way, in the last 2 years because we keep drilling. We're now up to 76,000 kilometres of cumulative linear metres of drilling, 76 kilometres, 76,000 metres, of which almost 50,000 of those metres have been drilled by us in the last just over 2 years. So the deposit has been fully reinvented by this massive drilling campaign. Our latest resource was put out in October of 41.1 million tonnes at 7.3% lead and 18 grams a tonne silver. This is what the resource looks like. The red underneath is this brecciated vein zone of sulfide mineralisation in massive style veins, and then underneath, above, we have this blanket zone of mineralisation that's taken on the matrix of the sediment host rock. 90% of what we're proposing in our mine plan is this sort of golden blanket zone, if you like. So that's the real contiguous zone of production. It's generally 10 metres thick. The rock's very hard, so we have very good stoping conditions. So the mine plan is 1.2 million tonnes a year for 16 years. It will produce 95,000 tonnes a year of lead and 805,000 ounces a year of silver. So I'll come into the metallurgy, I guess. The product in our lead zone, really the only payable mineral or the mineral of interest is galena itself. We actually have other minerals in other zones. So lower down we have a chalcopyrite zone which is rich in copper and gold. But we have a very simple metallurgy in the proposed mine plan, which means not only does it support a high recovery of about 94%, but our product will be the highest grade, cleanest lead concentrate available globally. Our concentrate will be 75% lead. The next highest grade concentrate available globally today is from Doe Run in the US at 59% lead. What it resulted in is IXM paying a significant premium to benchmark in order to acquire our lead. So we have for 60% of our production, we have a 10-year deal with IXM, which will generate an extra $4 million or so per year of free cash flow over and above the definitive feasibility assumptions which only used benchmark. The definitive feasibility study proposes 170 million Australian dollars worth of capital, and it results in a $553 million net present value and 39% IRR. And as I said, this study was done using spot prices, no sort of higher price assumptions or whatnot. The current spot prices today are above the prices we used in the DFS. And the interesting things to note here too are the EBITDA margin will be around 50%, and the C1 cash cost of 44 cents a pound will, according to Wood Mackenzie, be the lowest cash cost of any primary silver producer in the world. As I said, we've commenced construction. So these photos are now around, I guess, a month old or maybe even 6 weeks old. So we have updated photos on our latest quarterly and whatnot. This is some roadworks and site preparation. We've actually commenced building the camp now. This is a more recent photo. This is from about 3 weeks ago. This is the kitchen module of our camp. This is some of our We're doing our water reticulation already for the site completely, wastewater treatment, all site roadworks. What else? Site clearing, building final camp. So commencement of the aerodrome. That's all work in progress right now. So where we're at in terms of final funding, though, we believe so. The project development capex is 170. Working capital that includes contingency, including working capital and maybe further cost overrun. We're sort of looking for a capital requirement of 185 to 195. We have 34 million of cash, another 60 coming from Toho. So Toho pays their final tranche once we sign the project development financing, the debt. We have in the money option proceeds of 4 million. So these are 6 and 8 cent options that expire in the next 9 months. So we would expect them to be converted. The current share price is 30 cents. So we broadly have equity available of 98 million. So we're looking for a debt facility of about 125 million. By the way, we also have 17 million of working capital facility being provided by IXM as part of their offtake agreement. Now, we're in the late stage of a bank financing process. We signed non-disclosure agreements with 11 banks. We got 8 term sheets back. We have shortlisted 6 banks. Those 6 banks now have to go through their final credit processes, and we would expect to form a syndicate of between 2 or 3 of those banks to provide the debt facilities we need. Once we put the debt in place, we will sign the EPC contract. And the EPC contract is the key, let's say, timetable driver for the final development. We would expect that once we sign the EPC contract, we will produce our first commercial concentrate 18 months thereafter, and we would hope to be able to sign that contract in the month of December or January. In addition to our lead, beneath the resource, we have extended a few holes and into mineralisation that is chalcopyrite rich and has copper and gold. So we have, below the lead resource, we've found things like 13 metres at 6.3 grams a tonne gold, 12 metres at 3 grams a tonne gold. So we believe that there could be a copper gold mineralisation beneath here, and we would expect to drill that up once we have underground workings. So that's it for us, and I appreciate everyone's time. Thanks very much.